You are listening to Be Amplified, the podcast with Bree and Thais, episode 46.
Hey Amplifiers, welcome to Be Amplified, the podcast. My name is Thais.
And I'm Bree Seeley. We are the co-founders of the Amplify Collective,
A movement aimed at radically disrupting how purpose-driven women connect and operate in the world.
because we believe it's not just what you do, but who you are that matters.
Each week, join us for messages and interviews that will leave you feeling amplified and ready to change the world.
Let's do this.
Good morning, amplifiers. Bree Seeley here.
Happy Monday!
And that was Thais, in case you didn't know.
That's me. And it's Monday.
And it's a very special Monday.
It is a special Monday. It's a special Monday because it's another Monday that we are alive.
Fact. And
it's a special Monday because it's our 1 year anniversary.
oh,
1 whole year of Be Amplified.
OMG.
I know. How many episodes have we recorded? Almost. What episode number is this?
40-something?
40-something? That's
so,
amazing.
to be fair, we launched our first one a year ago, and we took a little hiatus.
We did. It was
this
like a 2 or 3
winter,
month hiatus. Yeah.
Hence the not being at 52 episodes yet.
Yep.
But
it's good. If it's fun. It's fun to see how far we've come since our first few episodes.
yeah, so I wanted to do something for our 1 year anniversary that we did on our very first episode. Very first. Are you ready?
Is that what I think it is?
So there's only one problem with this thing that I want to do to celebrate our 1 year anniversary. And the problem is that neither Thais nor I are drinking right now.
I thought that's what you were getting to.
So we are going to energetically pop a bottle of champagne. I am going to find an audio file of a popping of a bottle of a champagne, which Thais is going to insert into the audio right now. Yay! Happy 1 year!
There's also energetic confetti. There is also energetic fireworks. Might as well, since we're doing this energetically.
I'll get a firework file too, an audio file, so you can add in. We'll have all the sound effects for all of the 1 year anniversary.
All of the sound effects. That is amazing. Yeah, it's been 1 year. So, Bree, okay, what has been your favorite episode this past year?
Oh, that's so hard. I don't know if I have one episode. I think, so honestly, this podcast has been one of my favorite things for the last year.
Yeah, it's been really good.
Thais and I talk all the time about how much we just love doing this, how much we love, one, jamming together and being obviously complete idiots and dorks and, whatever, but like just the conversations we've had over the last year have changed my life. And I just feel really full after podcast recording and after each episode airs, and it's exciting.
When I look back at all the guests, I'm like, wow, I've forgotten that we talked to these people. Like, that's so cool.
And can I say the guests that we've had are just fucking amazing. They've done amazing things in the last year.
Yeah.
So specifically, like one that I know of, Sarah Moshman, just released her documentary. She talked about finishing and editing and raising funds for her documentary on the podcast last year. And I just went to the opening for it, the world premiere. And then Thais just watched it on Netflix. It's on Netflix. Like so cool.
Yeah, I know that Carrie Williams is doing big things. Like she's on TV doing something fun. I know that we still love supporting Tanya from Le Grand Cortage. And
oh my God, I didn't send you this. I was shopping in Whole Foods the other day and I look over, because I'm not drinking, I look over into the wine section because that's, the most enjoyment I get out of alcohol these days. And there were 2 huge Le Grand Cortage displays. I took photos of them and texted them to Tanya and was like, I love love, love, love being in Whole Foods and like seeing your champagne. It's so fucking cool.
That is so cool. Yeah, so we've had some really incredible guests. I will also say that we've had a lot of our dear friends join our podcast.
Yeah.
Our friends like Katie Brussack and
Mira.
Jacqueline Mullen and Mira Jolie, Ashley Cooper. These are our dear friends that we love, and we love getting to support them and seeing them rise and do amazing work in the world. We've had a handful of male guests come on, like James Kinney rapped for us. We had Amateo Rott. We had PJ. Love, love, love PJ. Yeah, it's been a real whirlwind of a year. And we launched season 2, which Brie and I became very intentional and committed that season 2, we were going to take the level of conversations that we are having to an even greater level and really start addressing and talking about some things that are happening in the world and using this platform to highlight some of those things. And so we've had amazing guests like Desiree Adaway share light on intersectional feminism. And in a couple weeks, we're having Christina Pacheco on, and she's going to be talking about some social justice stuff. So it's been really cool. We've had so many great money conversations with like Vicky Saunders and also with Tanya, and raising money and the importance of women supporting women and women investing in themselves and being invested in.
And we have a great conversation coming up too about some disrupting the patriarchy stuff with Talia, the founder of 3 Day Rule, who had to conceal her pregnancy while raising capital.
Yeah.
Because the powers that be, the investors, won't give money to a woman who's pregnant, who runs a business.
Yeah.
So, like Thais said, super committed to having even bigger, deeper, greater conversations that are less about like, you know, oh, the airy fairy light things in the world, and like really, really having conversations that matter. Like, we're committed to changing shit in this world. And we are so, so grateful that you are along on the ride with us.
We've also had some people announce pregnancies on our podcast. We've had people talk for the first time about their breakups. I mean, it's amazing at how real and vulnerable these women are willing to get.
And men.
And men, yeah. And Brie and I are looking forward to the guests that we're going to be featuring in the coming months. And we're looking to continue to facilitate even deeper, more meaningful conversations with a diverse voices, diverse experiences. We recognize that we're 2 white coaches from Los Angeles, and there's only so much diversity 2 white coaches from Los Angeles can offer. And so we really,
though Thais is multinational.
I am. So we're excited. We're really, really excited for what's to come. And this podcast guest that we're having on today is super special, and we're really excited to bring her on a little bit later. So yeah. That is all I have to say, Brie. That is all I have to say.
I'm going to mirror the question back to you, and I don't know if I want to ask a person because we've had so many great ones on. But like, what's been your favorite experience? Your favorite part of launching Be Amplified in the last year?
I think my favorite experience is not necessarily one particular podcast, but just how much fun we have in closets.
Who knew?
Who knew?
The closets could be so, so fun.
Who knew? And that's fun. Like, it's fun to hole up in the closet and just talk to a microphone, and then to hear that people are fucking listening. Like, that is so fun. Here I am just talking to myself in a closet, and turns out thousands of people happen to be listening, and they actually are impacted by this stuff. And that is so humbling to me. And it never ceases to amaze me how amazing it is to be doing this work. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, and if I may mirror it back to you, I know I texted you this last night, but I am so honored to be doing this work next to you. And there's no way I would ever have a podcast on my own, or at least not at this point.
No, and I've even thought about like what that would look like, and it's amazing at how when you do a podcast with somebody else, it feels like that burden of having it to be all on you is alleviated by 100. Because when I don't want to show up, you carry the energy. And when you don't want to show up, I carry the energy. And we really make it work. I think that that's really special that we're doing this together. And, no matter what happens with Amplify, no matter what happens in our own separate businesses, it feels like our podcast is a respite from all of that.
Yeah.
So it's really fun. I've been having fun with you and doing this. And even though now we're in 2 separate closets and we're no longer in the same closet, I will still cherish the memories of you eating bananas and nuts in my ears.
Maybe on the 100th episode, we'll have a reunion episode where we record from the same closet again. Good. Anyways,
someday we will have a real studio. Promise.
Yes. But anyways, it has been an honor to be on this journey with you for the last year, and this is one of my favorite parts of every week. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else do we have to say before we introduce our guest?
I think that is all we have to say.
Is that it? We have one quick announcement. For those of you that are in Los Angeles and listening, we are partnering up with Mar Vista Art Department to do a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful dinner in June.
Yep.
And you should
First Tuesday of the month.
First Tuesday of the month. It is going to be catered by Sharkies. And we are just really excited. It's going to be a gorgeous, intimate evening of laughter and connection and love and light and all of the things beautiful. And
there will be gifts.
There will be gifts. There will be Le Grand Cortage champagne.
Yep.
There will be wine. There will be all sorts of things.
Yeah, it's going to be a really beautiful experience. And it's one of its kind. And we don't know if we're doing it again. So this is your opportunity to check us out.
Fact.
Do it.
You can get more info on our website, theamplifycollective.com. It is under our events tab. And yeah, I think that's it.
All right.
We do have a quick advertisement for you from one of our sponsors, actually, for the June dinner party, one of our favorite brands. So we will bring that on quick and then introduce you to our guest this week.
Let's do it.
This episode of Be Amplified is brought to you by Tampon Tribe. Tampon Tribe is a monthly subscription service for 100% organic tampons, pads, and panty liners delivered right to your door every month just when you need them.
Last-minute CVS runs for bad feminine hygiene should not be a part of your life, and now they don't have to be. Tampon Tribe is an awesome, affordable alternative for all of your feminine hygiene needs each month.
Tampon Tribe products are 100% certified organic cotton. They're chemical-free, toxin-free, and plastic-free. Even the wrappers are completely compostable. So you actually save the environment every time you use them. And they give back, which is something we really love. For every month you subscribe, they give a day pack to a homeless woman on our streets.
So what are you waiting for? Head to tampontribe.com to check out everything that they have to offer. And just for you, take 50% off your first month with the code AMPLIFIED50 at checkout. Again, that's AMPLIFIED50 for 50% off your first month. You look after your body. You should be looking at what's in your tampon too. Head over to tampontribe.com and do your body a favor.
All right, Thais, we have quite the guest today for our 1-year podcast episode. Let me introduce everyone. Danielle Laporte is an invited member of Oprah's Super Soul 100, a group who, in Oprah Winfrey's words, is uniquely connecting the world together with a spiritual energy that matters. Danielle is the author of White Hot Truth, Clarity for Keeping It Real on Your Spiritual Path from One Seeker to Another, the Firestarter Sessions, and the Desire Map, a guide to creating goals with soul. The book that has been translated into 8 languages, evolving into a yearly day planner system, a top 10 iTunes app, and an international workshop program with licensed facilitators in 15 countries. Named one of the top 100 websites for women by Forbes, millions of visitors go to daniellelaporte.com every month for her daily truth bombs and what's been called the best place online for kick-ass spirituality. A speaker, a poet, a painter, and a former business strategist and Washington, D.C. think tank exec, Entrepreneur Magazine calls Danielle equal parts poet and entrepreneurial badass, edgy, contrarian, loving, and inspired. She lives in Vancouver, British Columbia with her favorite philosopher, her son.
That was an amazing handful of a bio.
Welcome, Danielle.
Thanks for having me.
Danielle,
and happy anniversary. Happy birthday.
Thank you. How often do you have to listen to your bio? Like, tell me, do you have it memorized down to the T by now?
Like that last line, I'm with you. I'm like with your favorite philosopher, her son. Ba-bam. Yeah, I hear it. Mm-hmm.
I love it. So let's start off the way we start off every single one of our episodes by asking you our favorite question, which is, what does it look like for you, Danielle, to live an amplified life?
Well, I love the word amplified because I relate to so much about sound and what's sonic. So like the immediate thing that comes to mind for me with that is like, I use my voice. I use my voice to be loving, to be creative, to make change, to be self-expressed, to be of service. So yeah, it's speaking. Amplification for me is broadcasting light.
And I feel like you do that so authentically, so genuinely you.
Yeah, what's my alternative?
Right.
Yeah,
but it is an alternative. Something that we have found is that so many women are so thirsty to find, and even the word authenticity has become so just overused because we're so thirsty to find our authentic expression, our authentic amplification into the world. And it's not necessarily an easy path, huh?
No, it's like this irony is one of the hardest things is to be yourself.
Yeah. So how did that come for you? Was it kind of always natural for you to be this self-expressed, amplified woman, or what kind of was the turning point where you realized that not being yourself wasn't going to work anymore?
Always pretty bold. Definitely, like I was definitely exhibiting leadership skills in kindergarten. So, like that inclination to lead was there, and a love for words was there. So that's like baked into my personality. And then as you go, like the inevitable initiations come where it's like the time where you're quiet and you really regret it. I often say that all of my so-called failure can be traced to my silence. What's the opposite of amplification? Like muffled, tamped down, not spoken, restricted, allowing myself to be restricted, restricting myself. So you do that enough, you will be in enough pain and get yourself in enough shit that you don't want to do that anymore. That like the alternative to that is you have to speak, because not speaking and not being yourself and not being quote unquote authentic is really painful and has really shitty results. Yeah.
Totally. So I love how you talked about just now, like using your voice for light, but also that you use your voice to kind of like stir things up. And you talk a little bit in your book about this idea of using your voice powerfully, both to like promote the goodness, but also to kind of agitate things that are currently existing in our world. So for some women that are looking to maybe agitate some more, because I know that as light workers, we like to be in this place of like, oh, everything's amazing and the world is so beautiful.
Live in the light, just spread the light and spread the love.
Yep.
It's all good.
So what was the transition like for you to kind of be more of a disruptor in the world? Like can you give us just a little bit more insight from transitioning from that super light, airy fairiness to actually using your voice to disrupt and make change in the world?
I love the way you phrase it. So not so much a transition as like this deepening, this evolution. It's like, you share one opinion and that shakes things up and there's a new policy and we're not going to do things that way anymore. Oh, that worked. You share one more opinion and you ask for what you need in a relationship and you get met. and your relationship is better, or you dump the chump and it's like, oh, that works. So you speak up and there's a little bit of success. There's like great results. And then you speak up again and you keep doing it. So it's a growing, it's a muscle, your voice literally and figuratively is a muscle. But, I want to refine something, which is, I'm totally with you about what you're saying about the light and the airy fairy. And, so many of us, if you're on the self-help path, the training, so much of the time is about keeping the peace, about harmony and tolerance. And I'm saying that real life is not like that. And you being whole and you being loving and you wanting to create change, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes can be super disruptive, and it can create a lot of disharmony. Like there's going to be people who are not pleased. There will be policymakers that need to change things. There will, your mother will not necessarily be happy with your version of being conscious. But I want to really drill down and get something deeper here. Light is very disruptive to the darkness.
Mm.
Love is very agitating to someone who is in fear and hateful. So this isn't about, yes, sometimes so much of our lovingness can look fierce and like mama bear like and social activist like, and I am so down with that. But sometimes to just be the most gentle person in the room, to be the person who says, you're a fucking asshole and I love you anyway, and I got room for you, and I'm going to sit at the same table and listen to your opinions. That is spiritual activism, and that is disruptive. Deciding that you're going to have a charitable component to your business is disruptive. Deciding that money isn't everything with your shareholders or the people who are investing in you is disruptive. Deciding when you're pitching your team or your boss on a campaign that you're going to you need more women of color. You need more women in your fucking yoga Instagram stuff who have curves.
Mm-hmm.
That's disruptive. But that is all coming from a place of loving inclusivity. Like, you see what I mean? Like, inclusivity is disruptive when people are being so exclusionary because either they innocently don't know better or it's all about the fucking money. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I know one of my favorite parts of the book, and something that I think you do so well, is you're able to hold two juxtapositioning ideas and bring them into one, where you can be, radically bounded, but also completely open and giving. You can have a open heart while simultaneously being able to say no. And I feel like that's what's almost missing in a lot of these spiritual conversations, is the nuances of, it doesn't have to be this or this. It can be both.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because both is whole, and both, but here's the thing, like you nailed it, but both is like, it's harder to market.
Yes, it is.
It's not as easy to describe. It leaves you more open for criticism. So like people can say, they could say, well, you're an entrepreneur who's making money, who's talking about spiritual stuff. Yep. Mm-hmm. Or you are clearly a no shit person, but you're talking about love. Yep. And you're a vegetarian, but every once in a while you got to have bacon. Uh-huh. Because that's my version, or somebody's version, of being real. Like, I'm in the moment. I have values, but I can still think for myself. And, I think the greatest wisdom is there's a time and place for everything. There's a time to crusade, and there's a time to just be quiet. Just accept it and keep your mouth shut. And there's a time to die for your principles, and there's a time to just knock it off. Just be more flexible.
Yeah, I feel like the difficulty with being real is thinking about what other people are going to say, you know, when we change our minds, are we being hypocritical? You know, what are they going to think about this, or what are they going to say about it? And that can become such a jail for us to just be constantly asphyxiated on the external validation to determine whether or not we're going to allow ourselves to be a little flexible and flowing.
Yeah. And like, I have a really, a good friend who was very public as being a vegan. I mean, part of her platform was based on veganism and living this plant-based life. And she decided that she needed more, and she was going to take herself down a notch, depending on how you looked at it. And she was going to just be a vegetarian. Like, I don't know what that meant for her specifically. If it was just, she was going to have dairy and eggs or what.
And honey.
And honey. Yeah. And wear silk and maybe wear some leather. And is everybody thinking why silk isn't vegan? It's because of the silkworms, and they bury them alive. Or it's not bury them, they boil them alive. Pushback she got. So this was like so sad and ironic and pathetic and understandable. It's just like, you know, so here's all these vehement, super passionate vegans who were just like, you're a murderer and you're a hypocrite. And veganism is about love. And here they are being hateful to her when they're all about love. Like, and it's easier to love a pig and stand up for the cows than to just be kind to a fellow human who's changed their mind. Like, really? Is that the case? Apparently it is the case for some people. So, but yeah, courage to her. Like, that was my truth then. This is my truth now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that you bring up that thing where they're all, you know, the vegans are all about love, but then they're hating, because the very last chapter of your book, and sorry to spoiler alert Thais, because she hasn't finished it yet, the very last few pages you talk about, like, this is why we practice. Like, it is in times when we're like put to the test and faced with these things that contradict us, or, you know, challenging situations or whatever, that this is why we practice. And I loved that so much, because it's so easy to practice spirituality when things look pretty.
And when you're on your mat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite parts, was the very ending about really putting the shit into practice, because it's so easy to talk about it. It's easy to sit, you know, in our closets and banter back and forth about spirituality and all of the things. But like, when we get out in the real world, you know, when rubber hits the road, what are we going to do? What are we going to choose?
Yeah.
And this is so important right now with the political climate in the U.S., right? So I'll just take a stand right now and say, can you love someone who is a passionate supporter of Trump? Because that's what you're being called to do as someone who's apparently on the path. You have to reach in to find within yourself the connection and the compassion for someone who you are apparently in direct opposition with. And at the same time, stand up for what you think is very wrong and very indecent and immoral. So, you know, I can say, look, I am 100% opposed to, you know, that the political demeanor, to the what I consider to be denial, lack of ethics, misogyny, bigotry, hatred that is being spewed by, you know, this you know, the political regime. At the same time, he's human. This is part of our collective karma. We are involved in this co-creation. I feel obligated as someone who wants to be on a path of awakening to send love to him and people I don't agree with every day, and to look for, you know, what is their wound that has them act the way they do. Yeah. And at the same time, stand up and say, climate change is real. I must stand for protecting the planet. Yeah. Sorry, we got off on a political.
No, we love the political.
This is so good.
Yeah.
We actually, one of our first secret episodes of the podcast was the day after the election.
Yeah.
So Thais and I are both right there with you. And I love this kind of bringing back the duality thing that Thais was mentioning earlier. I really loved too, in the book, how you talked about lightness and darkness, and how do you deal with all of the dark shit that's either one within ourselves or two in the world while remaining in our light?
Oh, that's a really, really deep question.
While you're putting your thoughts together, I just remembered the day after the election, you know, a couple people that's in the spiritual community on Facebook, like, it's not a big deal, you know, I've seen the vision. This is okay. This is perfection. This is going to help us, you know, like kind of like popping an acne, like you have to bring it out first before you can clear it. And while the message came from a very genuine place and they genuinely believe that and whatever, it felt like it took away from, not necessarily took away, but it was almost inappropriate for a day where so many of us were in shock, were grieving, and were completely awakened to the reality of what was going to happen next. And I feel like, you know, this is something you talk about in the book, and it's just, we can't pretend that it's all light. We have to be human. We have to allow that humanness to be there, or else we're really dishonoring our fellow humans' experiences.
Yeah, you have to meet someone where they're at. It's like, wow, this is shocking, period. Tomorrow we're going to regroup and we're going to talk about the greater meaning in this. Yeah, I mean, it's like really like saying to someone who's just lost somebody in their life, well, you know, everything happens for a reason. Like, it's insensitive. It's insensitive. But both are true. There's an occasion to grieve, and everything happens for a reason. It's just all, you know, emotional intelligence is like so much about good timing. But your question about the light, holding on to the light in the dark, I think you have to pick sides. You really have to choose what team you're going to be on. And, you know, like the twist in this is I work for Team Light. And my team actually, you know, the irony is like, it includes everybody. So I have room for karma and mistakes and how misogyny needs to work its way through culture for us to make things right again. Like, I'm in it for the long game. But whenever I feel like confronted by darkness, like external stuff, so there's two levels of darkness. There's just like ignorance and nasty people and, you know, trolls on the internet, or politicians you don't want to support. And then there's like, you know, spooky, Voldemort kind of bad energy stuff.
Wait,
and
you said
in
his
either
name.
moment, yeah, I did, because I'm not afraid. Because in those moments, I say, you know, like, I work for the light. I'm clear. I'm here to like get us to a better place. I'm committed to the light. I'm committed to the light. I'm committed. You can say what you're going to say. It doesn't mean it'll be easy on me. I'm committed to the light. I know I'm a loving person, period. So yeah, you have to go back to, I mean, to put it into business terms, you just have to be rooted into your why, like why you're here. Yeah.
So speaking of business, you're launching a book right now, and I would love to know what it looks like for you to be on this level of turned on. I mean, I'm sure you've had so many interviews and you've had to show up on Facebook in such a powerful way for however many weeks. And I'm curious how you navigate that with, you know, those moments where you don't feel like showing up, or you're feeling tired or drained, or you want to push it off till tomorrow.
Yeah, I love that question because nobody's asked me that question yet. So you're really happy when you get an original question.
Well, this is what we aim to do, Danielle. This is what
Ding! 4 stars for original question. You know, I like, this is so genuine. I don't take any of it for granted. None of it. Because like, it's been a long journey. And it's been a great journey, but it's like, you know, this book in particular, I gave this all I had to give. I really believe in its message and its vibration to like be useful. And so I feel like I'm in service. I've been around long enough that I'm going to stay in I can afford to stay in a nice hotel when I go to New York to do my thing. It's like I'm not sleeping on anybody's couch anymore before a speaking gig, and I'm not boring anybody's shoes. So there's like some of that is there. And look, right now I'm sitting in my house, in my studio, lotus style, on a little sofa that I have in my studio, in my office. What have I got to complain about? You know, I'm talking to two really lit up, intentional women about something that matters to me. It's the way I make my living. I'm selling boatloads of books. My kid is going to walk in the door in a few minutes. I left him a little note on the floor downstairs that said I'll be out around 4 p.m. And he's going to have a guitar lesson. Like, life is good. I meditated this morning. You know, there's some things in my life that are heartbreaking and difficult. I mean, what the fuck? So I'm on podcast number 73. I asked for this. I created this. I will not complain about what I've created and about people wanting to talk to me. Yeah. So, but to balance this out, or just to add to this, there are so days I'm just like, okay, Facebook fucking live. Here we go. And, you know, it's mostly about having to look good. Like, it really matters. You know, the big piss off for me is when it's 15 minutes before I'm going to do an interview and I realize that, fuck, it's a video. I thought this was going to be audio only. And it's like, I had my hair in a fun bun all day, and, you know, I like got bobby pins in, and I'm still in my workout gear, you know? And I'm just like, shit. That's the only rub. That's the only rub is you gotta put on your mascara and really suit up and show up.
Yeah. I love this. And I'm curious to know, because oftentimes when we are on the other side of a launch, or when we see someone else's launch, we think it's going a certain way, or we're like, well, it all worked out. It's all fine. But what I've felt is that in the middle of a launch, it feels like a fucking shit show. And it feels like nothing that I want is coming together. And I'm curious how do you mitigate? Because I'm sure you have some, not necessarily expectations, but you have some numbers that you guys want to hit. And there's some things that you're doing in order to hit that number. And I'm curious how you mitigate the expectation and desire for it to look a certain way versus how it's actually unfolding.
Ding, you get another star for original question. Nobody's asked me that. Let's keep score, shall we?
I feel like this goes along with the whole duality thing that we've kind of been talking about too. It's like the human aspect of a launch versus like the spiritual aspect of a launch, right?
Totally.
Like,
Right.
the human part of like, I have all these expectations, and then the spiritual part that's like, it will unfold in divine perfection.
I can't be there yet. I don't know if I'm still in my masculine. Like, I don't know what the dealio is, but I feel personally that's been one of my challenges. Is I have such high excitement to unload this into the world and birth this beautiful baby that I've poured my heart into, and then having to spiritually evolve and enlightened to not necessarily expect a certain response. Not quite there yet.
Yeah. This is a really great topic. So I'm really in the feminine right now of this, but I've put together a very masculine plan with my team. So you have a strategy. Here's a strategy. We're going to give it our all. I gave it my all by living the life I led to be able to have what I had to say to write this book. Okay. Then I gave it my all, and I sequestered myself for 9 months, and I got the best editor I could find. Okay. So like, you can just keep giving your best at every at every relay. You put together this plan to like get this out into the world. It's going to be classy and it's going to be elegant, and we're going to play the game. And don't play a game you don't love. I would not be like, I feel really blessed. I want to write and I have things to say, but I love the publishing and marketing game. This is fun for me. I'm a Gemini, right? So like the communicating and figuring out what the best time of day on Instagram is to post, and what kind of paper we're going to print on, and distribution, and I love it, So we put a good plan in place, and that is, as you brought up the energies, like that's warrior, that's masculine, that is doing. And then Jesus take the wheel, and you trust, or you don't have any fun. And it's not easy. So, like just the other day, I decided to not do a particular city. I was going to try and do 3 cities in 5 days. And that's tough. I mean, that's stamina and events in every city. And I just like, I bow to rock stars and musicians who get on the road and do that. And when we decided to not do that one particular city, we took that off the plate, then my girls automatically say, hey, why don't you go to Chicago or Portland? I'm like, yeah, okay, I can fit it in. I get to fly here, and we catch get the pedal jumper there, blah, blah, blah. And didn't take me long. Like 90 minutes later, I was like, guys, I can't. Don't want to. And I just am so much more in tune with my body now. And the thought of not doing that extra city, I just felt, I felt like I could flourish, and I wasn't going to get sick while I was on the road, and I could be so much better for my New York gig, and I could maybe even see some friends. And yeah, and the thought of cramming the extra one in, pushy, masculine, hammer it home, get on the list, win the, no. So, and now, and it's something new every day. Like today, I'm just like, okay, how many tickets do we have left to sell for the New York party? And it's like, okay, we got 340 some tickets to sell in, I don't know what it is, 3 weeks. And there's always that part of you, or at least I never want to lose this part of me where I go, are people going to show up? Are we going to sell out the space? And then some people around me are like, are you kidding me? You got like 1 million people come to your website a month. I think you're going to sell out New York. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe we'll only get 5 people. And that's life. I'm happy, and sometimes to not trust and still feel worried in a healthy way, humble. Like, do people give a shit? Hopefully. And of course I want to sell it out. I want to be oversold.
Thank you for sharing that, because I know that oftentimes, like Thais and I both face this, and I know that all of our clients do as well, that we're like, is there ever going to come a day when we're going to not worry about this? Is like just being in that, like, what am I doing? What's right? Is this going to work? Like that kind of stuff. And it's nice to see that no matter what level you get to, that still kind of stays, because it can feel really lonely and really incredibly debilitating. And to hear it from your lips, I know means a lot to both of us, and hopefully our listeners as well. So thank you.
Yeah, just being honest. Yeah.
Well, I'm curious, as your reach has grown, as your business has grown, as your impact has grown, how, maybe this is a silly question, but what does it look like in terms of not letting it get to your head? Like staying really like, this means a lot, but it also really doesn't mean anything. And I see in the yoga world, these men yoga teachers, it gets into their head, and then there's sexual inappropriate stuff going on all over the place because they're not, I don't know why, but so I'm curious for you, what has that kind of balance look like of taking up greater space because you have a greater space to take up. There's a greater call for you to take up bigger space, while also being really grounded with reality, and that you may go grocery shopping and no one knows who the fuck you are. And isn't that the most refreshing thing?
One thing is you just have to be really aware in a business sense of the marketplace and the climate, that people are inundated with information, that there's always another self-help book coming along, that there's lots of people who are louder and more aggressive and more strategic, and they're going to get heard. There's lots of people with more funding or more money in the bank, and they'll get a book out before I do. So you just know, like, I'm the fish that I am in this very crowded space. Mm-hmm. And everybody's got their window of time. Now, I want to be a significant fish. I want to be a fish of substance, and I want longevity. I want to be around for as long as I want to be around. I mean, I might do something really eccentric someday and just go away. But I don't think so. So I'm just really super realistic about all of that. Like, don't have any fucking illusions about what it takes to play this game. You just get involved in the magazine game and you'll see what a game it is. About, I get asked to write articles. Can I deliver tomorrow? As if I don't have a life. Can I deliver tomorrow by 4 p.m.? I deliver, and they just quote me once or twice in this bigger article and put my stuff under a picture of some like pop chick. And I was like, oh, I thought I wrote something really wise and really useful. And I actually took time to do it just for you. But okay, I know you got clicks. You want the clicks. So there's that. So there's realism. And then you have days where you just have like a big zit and you have to get the best lighting and wear cover up because to do your Instagram post or your Facebook thing. Because you don't want people to think, wow, she doesn't look like that's not the same person as on the back of her book cover. Well, this actually is. I just have a big zit today. And I happen to not have a big zit that day. I actually looked really good on the photo shoot day when we were shooting the back of my book cover. I was really grateful for that. And then I just stay rooted in, look, I am a mom and I'm a girlfriend to my girlfriends. And that's what matters. Like, I want to be a good friend, and I want to pay my team more money, and I want to be an effective philanthropist. Like, I want to give money where it matters, and I want to sleep through the night. So,
okay, though, what color fish would you be? Because that's an important question.
Well, isn't there that great children's book? I don't remember the name of it, but it's like that fish has all the shimmery scales.
Yes.
It's like very metallic. What was that? I'd be whatever that dude was. I'd be like the female version. Very metallic. Very gold foil.
I love it. Yeah, I don't remember what the name of that book was, but I remember physically holding that book.
Yeah.
By the time this episode comes out, we will find out, and we're going to put it in the show notes. So everyone will be able to look up the book.
Great story.
So, Danielle, tell us, I know you are going to several cities. So if people are in, what cities are you going to, and where can people find out more about that?
New York City, May 17th. I hope it sells out. It'll be at Symphony Space. On May 21st, that's a Sunday, I will be at the Wanderlust Festival it's outside of Seattle, Issaquah. And I'm speaking around noonish. I'm going to do some spoken word, talk about social activism very quickly, and then I'm going to go off apparently in a tent by myself and chat and do books. And then June 16th, I will be in LA. No. June 16th, I'll be in San Francisco, and I'm speaking at Grace Cathedral. And then the final stop of this tour, June 23rd, I'm going to be in LA, and I'm going to speak in the Agape space.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And for those of you that are listening to this podcast, if you are listening on the day that we launch, which is May 15th, Danielle's book can be found on Amazon for pre-order. It is being launched on the 16th. So if you're listening to this after, you can just go on Amazon and get yourself a copy.
Get a copy. It is a divine.
Get a copy. Get 2 copies.
Get 10 copies. Get a copy for everybody, especially your family. And your friends,
especially the ones that love Trump. I mean, no, I really have to say I've been diving into a lot lately about how fucking messy it is to be a human. Like, and we're just so mean to ourselves as humans. And like the whole human experience is just so fascinating. And I think that the book just really illustrates a lot of ways that we can be a little less
mean,
judgy on ourselves about being messy humans.
More tolerant, maybe more tolerant to ourselves, tolerant to others, tolerant to the behaviors and patterns that we're witnessing in the spiritual world and in the regular world. Maybe not regular is the name for the opposite of spiritual. Anyway.
The Muggle world.
The Muggle world. Yes.
So good.
This book feels very divinely downloaded, and we appreciate you putting this out into the world, Danielle.
Yeah, for reals.
Oh, thank you. You guys, you're bright lights. Love this. Thank you.
The good news is,
extended cut.
We are not done with Danielle yet. If you would like to hear more, we will be in our Facebook community at beamplified.community. You can go there and join us. We will be chatting with Danielle for another 15 minutes. And so you can hear more of her.
Wait, and don't forget that if you join our community, you get access to our giveaway. We're giving away one of Danielle's books. So go join us, beamplified.community.
Thank you again, Danielle. Oh, and where can people find you on social?
I'm everywhere. DanielleLaporte.com. Instagram is the center of my universe. I love the space. I love the visual aesthetic. Everything I put out, like it starts there. Yeah.
I love it.
And thank you everybody for listening.
And you can find us as usual on all the socials as well at The Amplify Co. Come join us in our community, beamplified.community, and we will continue this conversation over there.